Hello again. In this series of video blogs, Dan and I will be discussing dreams. What they are, what they mean, their purpose, and their role in our creative lives. Dreams, as we all know, can be the most enjoyable and fascinating part of our nightly sleep, or the most unpleasant and horrifying. Most true dreaming takes place during what is called REM, REM sleep, and this occurs several times each night. During this time your body is paralysed, you're immobile, so you can't act out your dreams, but your eyes are moving constantly beneath the lids. In fact, REM, REM is an acronym for Rapid Eyeball Movement. While this is not the only time we dream, people awoken during REM sleep report dreams on about 95% of occasions, compared to less than 20% of those awoken during deep but non-REM sleep. When asked about the content of their dreams, those awakened during REM sleep report bizarre, vivid dreams, while dreams reported for non-REM sleep periods are generally more like extensions of our everyday life. REM dreams are characterized by hallucinations, delusions, disorientation, emotional instability, and amnesia. Now, if these occurred when you were awake, then they would be considered symptoms of a mental disorder. During sleep, however, they are perfectly natural and normal. In 1900, the Viennese psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud published his book The Interpretations of Dreams. Now, in this he proposed that dreams were an extension of repressed wishes and desires. Repressed because their actual open expression would be so disturbing to the individual that the brain has to disguise them behind these bizarre but less threatening narratives. Dreams, Freud believed, were a storehouse of repressed desires. He termed them the royal road to the unconscious, and they could only be interpreted, he thought, by a professionally trained psychoanalyst. By making these interpretations, the analyst would be able to identify the patient's problems and help the patient overcome them. Now, Freud's theories are not testable scientifically, and so they're not regarded as scientifically valid. And I have to say, most days, most scientists, including myself, feel that this approach is not very helpful to researchers or to patients. During the mid-1970s, two Harvard psychiatrists developed what they call the activation synthesis hypothesis. Now, this holds that dreams are the results of our brains being randomly activated by bursts of electricity and making an attempt to actually make sense of these images and patterns. They appear to be developed by the dreamer as a coherent synthesis, when in fact they are just the encoding of random physiological processes of activation of the brain circuits. And these are edited, in a sense, by the brain into a narrative which the brain uses to try and make sense of the information which is actually arising randomly within the brain itself. So, what are dreams good for? Well, the answer is nobody really knows. Some believe that dreams are a way of integrating memories gathered during the day and of erasing memories which are no longer relevant. By clearing out your memory banks in this way, doing a bit of house cleaning, you may be able to reduce the emotional intensity or painful, disturbing events in your life simply by erasing them. Incidentally, if you want to relive your dreams, the only way is to wake up and make a note of them. We tend to forget our dreams almost as soon as they've been dreamt, simply because the memory areas of the brain are far less active during sleep than either the emotional and the visual regions of the brain, so we just don't remember them. Recording your dreams, especially the last one of the night, could be worthwhile, as they have been shown on occasions to be a spur to creativity, or even the fast track to a fortune. In the early hours of a day in 1965, for example, Paul McCartney had an early morning dream in which he heard a classical string ensemble playing what he regarded as a lovely tune. He immediately awoke, got up, sat at an old upright piano beside the bed and played it through, noted it down. He thought the melody was lovely, but because he had dreamt it, he couldn't believe it was actually original. But it was, and it turned out to form the basis of the group's hit song, Yesterday. So, jot down your dreams and you could find yourself on the road to fame and fortune.